Alright, here's our new kit for our 2012 or the new style Camaro. This is the kit for that. It's Lambo vertical door kit. It has the two dual shocks just like our Corvette kits. This is a new kit we're adding to our line, and you can see it. It's a pretty big kit, but the thing about it, only about this much actually you see. The rest of this underneath the fender and you don't see it. So once it's on the car, it doesn't look that big, but it is a pretty big durable kit, and we're about to put it on this 2012 Camaro. Alright, we're going to video the whole process so you can see what it takes to install it. Alright, we'll pull it off the door. Just 4 bolts to get the door off, and make sure that you tape up at least an inch or 2 from back and slightly on the inside, definitely down in case you bump it. You don't want to nick anything. And we put the door over here on a door stand or something. Just lay it flat down on something with cushion so you won't do any damage. And to get the door off, basically all you do is the 4 bolts that hold it on, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. They're 10 millimeter, and just this thing, the plug connection plugs into the door. You'll have to, this squeak pops in and out. This piece here, well, it's when the door is on. When you put it on, you push down on it, locks it in. Take it off, you push up on it, it pulls, it unlocks it so you can pull it off. Alright, hold this here for a second anyway. I loosened them up already. So. Alright, just get them out of the way. Do the same down at the bottom, and then clean up your area, and we'll get ready to put the kit on. Make sure you cut a straight line through here. You take this top piece of this little brace out, because the kit's got to sit in here on top of this. So just take that and cut it out, this piece right here. But you still got your full support of your brace. Come across here and cut, come across here and cut, and then straight down, take that piece out, and then straight up, take that piece out, and the kit will fit in there. But you keep your braces, you still have your braces. You don't take off the fender, so everything's fine. You still keep all your supports. Alright, you'll see where we took and trimmed it. Trim it straight across over to about a 1/2 inch all the way up, and underneath also. Trim it straight across and down until you got about a 1/2 inch of lip right here all the way up. But you have to do that so the kit will you have to do that so the kit will fit in there. It's the only trim you have to do. You still get to keep your brace. Most kits out there, you have to cut this brace out, and you have to remanufacture a brace, but you still keep your main brace and your top brace, so the fender is not any weaker. It still keeps all the support. You just cut out some of the excess. It's probably about 1 inch piece up in here you need to cut out, just to make sure the kit will fine. But you keep your fender on. You don't have to take you don't take your fender off at all. Just take this. The kit slips right in there. The wire here as it stands, there's not enough wire just like it is. So what you have to do is pull more out from underneath the dash, which you can. 2 or 3 inches easy. Right back in behind here, up underneath here, is a little clip. So you have to clip that clip, and it'll let more come out. So it's not hard to get to. The passenger side's a little hard to get to. You got to pull the kick panel off. The driver's side you don't have to, but it's not hard. And once you do that, it's in order to keep your boot. You won't see how it's not springing back. there's a little inner center piece you have to trim around here and take the tape off and cut this piece out, and that'll let this piece slide back and forth so that you'll keep your you know, accordion effect. So it'll slide back and forth. And I'll do that and I'll show you what it looks like. Cut this off that was wrapped around the wire here, inside here. Just do a little cut around inside here, and it'll slide out because it's taped to the wires. So now, when you got the wires pulled out, you can still put that back in, and you got a lot more, 3 or 4 more inches out of the door, so you won't have to cut the wires. It'll plug right into your door. And just once you do that, just push it back in, and you're good to go. Now it slides in and out, but before it wouldn't. Okay. This piece here, the washer donut that holds the wire harness in there, you need to cut a flat piece out of it. We took a razor blade, sliced it, pull that off there, give it a flat surface so the kit can slide down a little bit so it does touch it. Don't go too deep, you'll go through and you'll lose your seal, but the seal's all good there, so just cut a little piece out off the top, give it a flat surface. Alright, a few things you want to do to maintain the kit. There's 2 grease fittings down here. You want to grease those at least weekly if you use the vehicle a lot, if not, you know, monthly, but keep them greased, those 2 grease fittings. You have to slip your grease gun back in here to get to them when the door's up. And at the top, there's not a grease fitting. We couldn't design a grease fitting for you to be able to get to. So weekly, you need to take a good penetrating oil and just spray it, you know, spray up in here, back in here, and you want to keep this lubricated real well. So everything keeps moving smoothly, so you won't have any problems like that. Keep that lubricated, and the thing will last you forever. All right, we're ready to put the slide the kit in. Just got to be real careful. Once you did all your trimming in here and the side of the panel, just want to slide this in real easy and let it just sit in there until you put it bolted up. But you want to start with the top, slide it in. Alright, slides went in. Once you got all the trimming done, it'll slide in. Now I just want to stick my little bolts in and pretty much center it up, and we'll start from there. You'll reuse the factory bolts on the top 2 bolts and the bottom 2 bolts. The door ones, you'll use the ones we provide, but use your factory bolts on the top and the bottom. Alright, putting the lift supports on. It's best to show you where the kit off the car so you can see. But I want to make sure I put a washer in here on the inside of the shock. Put the bolt through like that. Like that. Put the washer on the inside. Slip it through. The bolt head has to be toward the base plate, so when it fits in this little recess, it won't hit. So just like that. Slip the other washer on top of it. Lift support on top of that. And put your little lock nut, shorty lock nuts on there. Now, tighten this up until it touches and then back off about a 1/4 turn. It still needs to be able to move a little, so it can't be tight or it'll snap the little ends off. Do the same thing here as up here. You do the same thing. The washers have to go on the inside, not on the outside, the inside. The spacer, what it is, it keeps a little space between here. If you don't have those 2 washers in between there, these 2 will hit and won't let it lock down. So there has to be a little gap in between the shocks here. So you do the same thing at the top and the bottom. Alright, we made sure that we've got these snug and then backed off just a little bit. Same washer on the inside as the bottom. So we've got, what this setup is, the dual shocks are overlapping each other instead of side by side. So the next thing we need to do is need to make sure that our stop, we don't open our door out too far where it's hitting our fender. So what you have to do is you'll look down in here and you'll see, you can't hardly see it on the camera, but you'll see where the shock is going to touch the fender. So you take your long extension with a Allen head socket on it. Back in here you can see the adjustment, and you turn it in to move it in, or you turn it out to move it out. So we're going to adjust it just to where when I open it, it doesn't hit the fenders down here. It'll hit first down here. So we're good. So when we're putting it on, we know that we can open it all the way out where it's not going to hit the fender. All right, we're ready to put on the door. We're going to take the door and put it on with its open position. Just set it on it, bolt it from underneath. That's the easiest way to store the door. You don't have to remove the fender on this. You shouldn't remove the fender on this, so you can leave it attached so you can get all your adjustments perfectly to the fender just as factory. But what's the best thing to do is take something kind of thick, a little piece of blanket or cloth or something, lay it in here. So when you put the door on here, if you bump it in here or something, it's not going to do anything, because it's going to move a little bit on you until you get it tightened up. So have something in here so it won't do any damage up in here. You just got to be careful as you're putting it on, just to not let it bounce. So you got to worry about it coming out. Just got to worry about it coming in a little bit. So keep something kind of thick right in this area right here. All right, the door restriction arm that keeps the door from going out so far. You don't have to take it out and remove it. It's kind of a bitch to do that. So you can just take it, once you do it, just hit it in and get it flush. And there's plenty of room in there for it open and close. You don't have to remove it. It's still there. If you ever want to change your doors back, you don't have to go back in there and replace this thing. So we just leave them flush up against there. All right, here we go. On the door part, you have to put our bottom door locking channel on the bottom part of the door, and just put the bolts that we provide with them. They're longer. Can't use the factory bolts because it's much thicker material here. But just put that on, and you want to leave it a little loose for now. So once you get it on there lined up, then you can snug it up once we put the door on the car. Okay, you get somebody to definitely help you hold it. Pick the door up as you're holding one end. I've got my hand down here. I'm holding the whole front end. I can't do this, hold the camera as it is, but you pick the door up. Let me get the light. Pick the door up, set it on this top hinge, screw it in, the bolts in. What we do is we lay a piece of felt carpet over down the side so you won't bump anything as you're doing it. That helps. All right, now we got to adjust it out. We got the door on there. The lift support's holding the door up. We got to adjust it out. All right, we just finished it. Let me zoom back out a little bit. All right, we just finished it. 2012 Camaro Lambo vertical door kit. Let's see if I can get the front of it here and show you what it looks like. Alright, when you're installing this, let me see if you can see the lights. It's got dual shocks. They're side by side like this, or instead of the other side by side. But when you're installing this, you'll have to make little adjustments, you know, from the top and the bottom to slide it in forward or back. And if your gaps aren't perfect, you get it. You got plenty of adjustment here to get all your gaps perfect. The whole door's held from the top hinge. If you can see it here, the top hinge holds it up off the door. Now the bottom piece here, as you can see, it's independent. So when it comes down, it slips over this locking channel right here. This locking channel fits right inside here and locks it from going out anymore, and puts it in, locks it in. So once it's down, the bottom's locked in just like the top. So when you're adjusting the door, you want to make sure that when you adjust it, put the door on from here, you want to make sure that the door is not too far out or in. When you start to go down, if you see it's not in, you can adjust your adjustment down here, in or out. But as the door comes, as you put this on, if you got this, the door out too much like this, then you'll have to, you know, it won't go into the locking channel at the bottom. So you have to make sure that you have your door perfect at the top and at the bottom. So, you know, you can adjust that independently out. Now this kit, I don't recommend a beginner doing this. This would be best for a professional, mainly because you do have to trim some in your fender. Now I'm not saying you know, us mechanics out there, or what's called a shade treat mechanic, if you want to attempt it, that's fine. I think you can do it, but it's not as easy to put on as our Corvette vertical door kits. This one there is some more modification to it, mainly just trimming inside the fender and adjusting it out from the top to get all the adjustments just perfect, you know, and lifting up on the door and holding it. You just have to be real careful. And this definitely requires two people. I know a lot of you've said that y'all put my Corvette kits under one person doing it. It's hard to believe it takes us two. But this kit, nowhere in the world you get it on unless you got help. So again, unless you've got experience with this stuff, I wouldn't mess with it. But this kit, you do not pull off your fender. You leave the fender on so the door you can adjust your door for the factory fender. You don't pull it off, so that's a lot of extra work you don't have to do. You don't cut your center fender brace. You still keep your center fender brace, just that you trim on the inside. Trim on the inside, just about a ½ inch. But you keep your center fender brace and you keep your top brace. You don't lose any of that. So you still have all your good support here. That don't move just like it didn't from the factory. Alright, Dave, show you how a fat guy like me is easy to get into. Again, all you do is grab the inner handle, just where you normally would, pull down on it till it clicks in, right there, shut it. Open it up, stick your hand down on the bottom of the door, lift up on it until it stops. There you go. And then you get your big ass out.